I am such an awesome guy. I make so many videos.
Hello there, Price of Reason here with a series review. After 2 emergency production hiatuses, NBC has finally aired episode 11 of the Quantum Leap sequel series, and as expected, the show continues its downward trajectory. While slightly up from the disastrous episode 10 Nielsen ratings, episode 11 still had the second lowest ratings for the series since its premiere. As far as the overall quality of the show, well, that hasn't improved much either. The plot for this episode has Dr. Ben Song leap into an army general at a nuclear facility in 1962. After something goes wrong, Ben seemingly dies in an explosion, only to keep leaping into different people on the same day at the same facility prior to the explosion. This creates a sort of Groundhog Day scenario, but with time running out, if Ben doesn't find out who's behind the explosion, he will ultimately die. Obviously, he ends up figuring it out and stopping it, saving everybody at the facility in the process. In present day, the Quantum Leap laboratory team tries to figure out what's happening to Ben. With the unexpected help of Janice, Al Calavicci's annoying daughter, the team ends up helping Ben by doing absolutely nothing. As usual, I will talk about what I liked about the episode and then what I didn't like. Number 1. Time Loop. This episode tries to do something a bit different, which in and of itself is a welcome development. The time loop, with Ben leaping into different people, is generally a good idea, one with actual potential, especially during a ticking time clock situation. Unfortunately, the episode still ends up falling flat because of so many other issues, which I will get to shortly. Number 2. Speech. Ben giving a heartfelt speech at the end of the episode to try to stop a bad situation from happening is a good idea. Raymond Lee even tries his best in that scene acting-wise. If the rest of the episode was as well executed, perhaps this scene would mean something, but it isn't, so it doesn't. Well, that was the good. Now let's talk about the bad. Number 1. Leap execution. How great would it have been if Ben just kept leaping into different people and we saw things only from his perspective? It would have been so suspenseful and chaotic. Instead, the leap's flow keeps getting interrupted by several scenes happening in the present-day timeline, which brings me to my next point. Number 2. Soapy drama. Even more than usual, this episode is plagued by soapy drama, largely taking place in the present-day timeline, which we see way too much of in this episode. When Ben's disappointed fiancé thinks Ben is dead, we get a scene that looks like it would have been too soapy to appear on Days of Our Lives. Ben's disappointed fiancé dropping to the floor, only to be comforted by a random office guy person, has to be the most unintentionally funny moment I've seen on the show to date. So much so that I actually laughed out loud when I saw it. And quite honestly, beyond the poor writing, most of these cast members just don't have the acting skills to convincingly sell this type of drama. When Ben's disappointed fiancé later cries to Magic, even Ernie Hudson, who's the only good actor on this show, can't make the sappy scene with her look even somewhat legitimate. This soapy drama is not what Quantum Leap is supposed to be about. This is not continuing the spirit of the original show in any way. The show is called Quantum Leap, not the Quantum Laboratory team, because it's supposed to be about the leap itself and not about the laboratory. Number 3. Janice. It's so convenient that she's being held at the Quantum Leap facility exactly when they need a so-called expert in time loops. And when she springs into action, it never even seems like she's an expert in anything at all. Her biggest contribution is that she suggests that Magic just let Ben finish his leap rather than shutting down the Quantum Leap system. So basically, she's suggesting that they don't do anything. And even that's really more of a moral decision for Magic himself rather than a scientific one. It's also annoying that they're trying to quickly redeem Janice's character during the last 2 episodes by downplaying the fact that she drugged her own mother earlier this season. Magic even ends up throwing her mother, Beth Calavicci, under the bus in order to make Janice sound better. While there is certainly a way to redeem Janice's character, you would need decent writers for that, and unfortunately, this show just doesn't seem to have any. Number 4. Chief Security Officer Lady. Magic, who's an admiral in charge of a military facility, makes a decision that she doesn't like by agreeing with Janice. This makes Chief Security Officer Lady even more of a sourpuss than usual, and then she gets upset at Magic. I mean, she acts as if Magic works for her, and then he has to explain himself. Now, I'm not sure if the writers of this show are aware of this, but this is not how any type of hierarchy works at a top-secret military facility. In reality, she would never be able to speak to an admiral this way, and if she did, there would likely be real consequences for her. But I guess this is the Gossip Girl version of a top-secret military facility, rather than a realistic one. Number 5. Random cliffhanger. In the final minute of the episode, Janice agrees to give Ben's disappointed fiancée some important information, which she tells her off-screen so we don't even hear it. And then the episode ends, leaving us on yet another random cliffhanger out of left field. Again! And this time, they don't even show us the cliffhanger. And so the writers of this show have somehow managed to accomplish the impossible. They've done something that's even cheaper and more gimmicky than J.J. Abrams, who himself was recently voted as the biggest con man in Hollywood. Obviously, as I always say, this tactic is both lazy and insulting to viewers. You can perhaps use this type of storytelling tactic sparingly, but when it's used in every episode, and now it's even dumber than it was before, it becomes very, very annoying, and along with the entire present-day timeline, it continues to be the worst part of this show. It's like the writers of this show are just making up the story from minute to minute, flying by the seat of their pants with no plan whatsoever. As for this specific last-minute twist, it's one of the dumbest ones we've seen until now. For several episodes, we've been told that Janice was on the run, refused to cooperate, refused to share info because those actions could jeopardize Ben's life, and now she's like, F it, here's the info. The writing here is very, very inconsistent. At the end of the day, even though this episode had some real potential, and even an interesting idea at its core, it simply can't rise above all of the stinky crap surrounding it. If NBC was smart, they'd get rid of most of the writers, actors, and producers, and rework the show completely. But I don't anticipate them doing so. Whether they ultimately move forward with a second season or not is still yet to be seen, but regardless, I don't see the quality of this show improving anytime soon. What did you think of Quantum Leap Episode 11? Did you love it? Feel free to let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and also clicking on that wonderful notification bell. Thanks for watching, my friends. Thank you, and good day.
I am such an awesome guy. I make so many videos. But